Why hello, and welcome to my second stream of DyWorld Factorio. Since last stream, I had a couple of recommendations of just some basic stuff I should add, and of those, I decided I'd be adding Reverse Factory and just pretty much a decorative mod to trains, Uoki Industries, which I've heard should look pretty interesting once we finally get to trains. I haven't seen it myself yet. I'll save that for like a surprise whenever we finally get to trains ourselves, since I definitely want to use them this playthrough. So let's just jump right back in, I guess, to our save file. I added a notepad document of things to do since last stream, since towards the end of last stream I kept kind of derping a bit on like what we should be working on next. And today's main goal will be green science, I do believe. As with red science, it looks like we're going to need to get another sort of like water setup with centrifuges going to get oxygen and acid going. I kind of want to redo this red science setup at some point, but that's not totally necessary at the moment. We'll get some research going while we figure out what we want to do with green science. I think we researched most of the basic red science only stuff we wanted to last time, so there's no reason not to go into some of these random other elements that I'm sure we'll need at some point. Let's just start with lead for now, I guess. Now that we have that going, we're going to need a centrifuge to start messing around with what we need for green science. It should be over here. And then a pump as well. Hello again, Eisenolf. Thanks for coming back. I just went over it a second ago, but I'll go over it again. I just added 2 of your suggestions. I added Reverse Factory, since that seemed like a pretty much no-brainer. It doesn't affect too much outside of just the implications of adding it itself. And I added just the decorative part of Uoki Industries for now. I wasn't too sure about adding much else yet, because DyWorld changes a lot itself. But, we'll see how we feel later on, I guess, on those. I was just about to get started with green science, so let's go ahead and do that. Pump should be over here somewhere. Here we are. Let's grab a regular stone one, I guess, for now. Let's see if we can't click it in somewhere here. It always looks slightly off still to me, I think. Like this might still make water even though it doesn't look like it should be able to. Yep. So it looks like getting green science. Yeah, I agree. I definitely want to reset up this now that I know it can be done in this way. What might be good is just like a block setup for now, and then we could have red science coming in downwards, green science from the left or right, and then any other science we need later on. And that'll probably be temporary, but it should at least accommodate us for a while. Like, these definitely can go straight into these labs, I think. We don't need this belt. Before moving that around, though, I think I'll just leave it for the moment. Because I think there's definitely going to be a lot to think about when it comes to green science, because just looking at some of the things that give us acid and oxygen, there's going to be a lot of things that we don't need coming out that we're going to have to figure out where we're going to want that to go. One more space down. So this will be how we get acid currently, as far as I can tell. But it also makes like 5 other things. It's also acid centrifuging, but that's the wrong thing. This. We're gonna have to figure out what we want to do with all this other stuff that's coming out of it. Like, it makes sludge, just like the recycler did last time. We're probably just gonna store it up and treat this kind of like an oil refinery. Except it has a lot more coming out than an oil refinery normally would. So we're gonna need a lot of storage tanks, I think, to get started. And a bunch of regular pipes. I think we'll go with stone. And remove that for now. I'm definitely not all that happy with this setup, but before I go on messing with green science for like probably the better part of an hour, I kind of wanted to add a couple more furnaces to iron and then get some automated belts going. This way, by the time we need belts, there's just going to be a ton in stockpile. I have a bunch of furnaces in our inventory currently, so I'll just plop these down. Yeah, I kind of agree. But I just wanted to get like a quick visual of just what is going in and out of it before deciding on any final setups. I think we're definitely just going to... I don't even know how many of these we want, really. Like, one has been enough for most of the science we've been doing, and we definitely can upgrade science at some point. But that'll probably be after we get green science going. How much does this make per run? Yeah, definitely. I guess even for the test, it won't hurt just to move it down a little bit. How many tanks did we make? We need 6, I think, total, just to get started. So each one of these we make is going to need like a ton of room to the left and right just to output each of the things it makes. We're going to need one more space to the right, I think. I think I'll just have it output to the right and then move it back to the left at some point, because There's a ton of ore here that I don't want to really cover as time goes on. I don't know which we'll need immediately or not. And then we'll just have all these head over to the right to various storage tanks. Let me get a bunch of pipes going first. Before we do that, let me not distract myself yet again from getting that iron going, because as you can see, even just with these like pipes and stuff, we're just chewing through all our iron. So it's definitely a good investment of time. Now we need 2 long inserters. And then some power poles. Yeah. I definitely didn't fill out these lines as much as I should have last time. But that's why I wrote everything I need to do this time on a notepad document, which I thought it would be smart to also put on stream, so anyone that comes in can also see what I'm planning on working on. I'll just move these as we do stuff later. It's kind of hard to tell exactly Can't say I've heard of Squeak Through Mod. Let's see how production's doing. About 100 right now. Now that we have a tiny bit piling up here, even just momentarily, I think I'll throw down a single assembly machine to get belts made. Oh, I stand miscorrected. I guess ore is now the thing, not coming in fast enough. So I'll go handle that as well. That doesn't sound like too bad of a quality of life mod. I did have a look through some of the patch notes. There was really a lot between like 0.14 to 0.16, but one of the things I did notice is that forests aren't as dense near the spawn, especially on like ore. But I definitely remember an old Factorio having to like chop down half the forest just to like walk through the starting area to get to whatever ores you needed to. Definitely a nice change. Let's see, where are miners here? I think what are we using here? We're using stone currently. I wonder if we can make any higher ones yet. Looks like the answer is no. I guess we'll make 4 of those. I just clicked 5 times by accident though. Belts. I was having a think earlier as well as to why couldn't put down an iron burner on, I think it was iron or something, or stone. I think it might be because of the material hardness. Yeah, I definitely think I'm okay with just adding like any quality of life mods that don't really overhaul anything. I am a bit hesitant at reloading because, though, like at the moment, because it does flash my desktop and I can't remember if I moved around icons and stuff in my wallpaper. I think I did, but for the moment anyway, I don't think it should be too necessary, but I definitely will add it probably in between streams. And the next one should also be tomorrow. Now we have way more iron mining going on. Still good on electricity. It is getting a little dark. I remember researching lights last time, but I kind of forgot to ever make any. I definitely want to get those going for the stream purposes, since it is usually pretty dark in recordings. At nighttime, anyway. Let's see, what were we about to do? Oh yeah, I was gonna check on why iron burners couldn't mine stone last time, and I think it's because of mining hardness. Because irons is 4 and stones is 5. So even though an iron burners mine quite a lot faster, and probably the same for iron mining drills, I don't think they'll be able to mine stone just because stone's the harder material. But I may also just have no idea what I'm talking about, and we'll have to like slowly learn the details of DyWorld stuff. But if I were to guess the reason, I think that's it. I think we're fine just to add more steam engines up here, because we literally have only made 2 so far, and I'm kind of surprised that they've worked so well, considering like they're the lowest level ones as well. We should have access to even a couple more tiers above that. At the very least, like stone and stuff, since this mod usually gives you like the first 5 materials free when you research a thing. Can't quite remember what that'd be under though. Here we are. Nope, just obsidian. I guess I stand corrected. We did get an obsidian from killing that biter base last time. Speaking of which, we'll want to get basic defenses going at some point as we slowly build up our pollution that we're making. Have we finally hit some kind of limit here on science? What are we missing? I think it's just glass. Which means we aren't mining enough stone, it looks like. I guess we just need to throw down a couple more stone miners. I am missing any kind of like box or anything for stone too. And we have mined most of the rocks around us. Yeah, I kind of just threw that together just to get started. And I haven't really messed around with these larger boilers much. Like, the last time I played, they were still only the 1x1 boilers. So I have no idea what will be best as far as, like, orientation. I'd imagine what you mean is, like, just 90 degrees that way. Or something like that. Or even just, like, over here. I guess that's something that'll take like just a second to do. So let me see how well this goes. If I just go ahead and probably move coal a couple tiles to the left, have the boiler just head this direction. This is lead. I guess it won't hurt to move it down a couple tiles just in case we need that lead later on. here should be fine. I guess I need to move it to the right a couple tiles because there's a little pond there. It'll be nice once we get green science going, then we can get landfills ourselves. I don't think I saw any other ships anywhere. That should probably be fine. It doesn't cover the lead. Yep. I can't imagine these basic boilers will be too intensive on whatever resources they need to eat up, steam and such, since they're only the basic ones. Where are they here? I have 4 apparently already in my inventory. Looks like this line will only be able to have 3 until we get landfills, and then I'll just make more down here to go that way as time goes on. Where do we want this belt? Probably here. I guess we'll just use up these iron ones that I accidentally made last time. Space in between will probably be fine. Let's take a look. I mean, they're not at max production anyway, so I don't think we'll be able to see whether they'll be able to handle it for a little while. But if it ever dips, I guess we'll know that it isn't enough. That should be fine for now, though. Have a bunch of belts made now, then we shouldn't need belts for a while. I guess I should pick up iron too, since we'll be making a lot of pipes ourselves. Yep, that is plenty of iron. I'll just get 6 lines of pipes going just to get started. I'll delete the excess once we figure out exactly where the underground pipes need to head for each of these. I'll keep... I guess I should be fine to just make acid the closest one for the time being, since it's what needs to head left immediately, probably at some point. Green science. We're gonna have to have like another setup elsewhere apparently too, since oxygen is from a separate centrifuge production activity thing. Let's have a quick look at that before we start making this, I guess. This only makes 2 things, and they output to the left and the right. The second thing is... not quite sure what that is, but that should be the oxygen that we need. Or something along those lines. Yep, that's the same symbol as oxygen. Does anything else need that other symbol? I mean, if I were to guess, it's probably like hydrogen or something, thinking about it, since it's literally just water, and water is just oxygen and hydrogen. But I'm not sure what this model will need hydrogen for at the moment. Yep, that'll be this. I read something about a search function, but how exactly do I access that? Oh, is this it? I think that's it. That probably would have made things easier last stream. Hydro. Oh, yep, looks like it definitely is hydrogen, and we can barrel it. But other than that, I'm not sure what else it'll actually be used in. I'd imagine each of these materials have different range. We're probably going to need a couple of longer ones for these three if we're gonna have all our liquids and stuff. This is not the right type of pipe. Head out this way. This, I can't imagine will be far enough. It is. Good enough, I guess. Oops. That is why I do this before we're actually pumping anything, because that would have been a huge mistake later on. And then I usually just do the same thing, but on the other side with storage tanks. Just offset slightly. 6 rows. And then it can just expand out as far as we want to the right as far as storage goes. It might be smart to leave one space in case we need pumps or anything, because I think this mod does change how physics works for some of these pipe things. So I'll just move everything back one. I have to move this stuff further down. Where'd pipes go? There we are. That'll be an issue now I look at it. I need to make it not on the same row, it seems. Just a matter of moving it further down or something, I guess. That should be fine. And then once this is done, I may as well get electricity started on it immediately so that it can start making all this stuff. Yeah, but I'll be replacing some of this in a moment. I just need to visually sort out where everything needs to be before I settled on it. So now we can delete, we can delete this section of pipe, delete this section, that section, this section. This for the moment, but that might need to go down at some point. And then for each of these bits, we can just throw down underground pipes. And that'll make it a lot easier to walk around here. But each thing will be on its own line of stuff, so that they don't run into issues later on. Looks a little weird, like, visually, but it works out. Yeah. Let's get electricity going. And the range on this thing is still surprising every time I see it for like one that you literally start with. Once again, it's glowing green. It's interesting to have another way to get crude oil. I did notice... Okay, there are some. I didn't see nearly as much oil as I'm used to seeing. I wonder if that's part of the reason. As like balance or something. I will probably put down another 6 tanks, so I don't have to worry about if any of those are getting full for a while. And that's half of green science done, probably. I came here for stone. Which, now that I think about it, I didn't set up a box for it, so I guess we're just gonna grab some more rocks for the moment. I use standard. Usually I like to increase the values, but I wasn't sure how much DyWorld changed value-wise. So I just went with whatever DyTech defaults are, I guess. Which are probably just mostly the same as regular Factorio defaults. Usually I at least, like I remembered last time I played, I upped stone a lot since this mod uses a lot of stone. But we'll see how we end up. Didn't get nearly enough stone, I don't think. I did 2 test runs, but I did indeed forget to check on what it looked like generally for material spawns. That would have been a good idea. What are we lacking for more mining stuff? Because I need to definitely get some more stone mining going, even just for science. 2 more of these. Actually just 1, since it looks like we have 1 in our inventory. And then we'll get the rest of those tanks. I guess we can just use iron tanks. I kind of wanted to not waste iron. Yeah. I do agree. Yep, we'll just make 3 more iron ones, I guess, for now. We're probably gonna need more of these. Yep. I wonder if DyWorld adds any new vehicles. So otherwise there's at least cars and tanks. Remember that much. I think if anything we're going to want to get better miners for this small patch. Here's the box we threw stuff in earlier. Doesn't look like it has that iron burner. so I'm not quite sure what I did with that. I kind of want to use it as a test though, because I imagine the material stuff will be the same even with regular miners once we unlock those. So we'll build one more. Yeah. So we can place it on iron just fine. But when it comes to stone, it doesn't let us put it down. And as I said, I think it's because of mining hardness. Iron has level 2, apparently. It says on the right there. And then this has 2.5. I guess it could also be the mining power. But I imagine one of those is just like the speed or something that it mines. Oh, what's this button? That's interesting. This must be new and related to later drone stuff. You have lights. Now it's getting dark. I'll remember to put some of those down. Like, I can't imagine what use it'd have putting these directly onto a logistics network, other than maybe module stuff. But I don't know what that would even entail. Getting some lights for the first time. I still kind of like that green glow. I don't think there's nothing else I've seen yet since coming back to Factorio that has that kind of color. But I imagine since they've like added uranium and stuff, I could be just haven't gone far enough again. I generally just like to put a light next to each of my power poles since that usually does a good enough coverage. I'll wait till next night to place those last ones, I guess. I think we'll turn this off for now. Oh, is this something that's in the game then? Like as a sprite? Kind of just assumed it was a DyWorld thing. But it is totally possible now I think about it that it is just a regular Factorio thing. Are we running out of electricity now? I think we are. It must be... I guess I did forget to check once we had this second centrifuge going. Because I think those are the things that use the most electricity. Yep, looks like I guessed correctly and that it's related to uranium anyway. We definitely need to put some lights on this area since I didn't walk up here last time. Came up here for something. Oh, electricity. How's performance look? That steam is pretty sad, I think. This must not be working out after all. I haven't really had much time to play around with these larger boilers since they were added, so I don't know what the right ratio for stuff is. It looks like 2 at least is getting enough steam, so I think we'll just stick to 2 for now. 3 definitely was not working though. And we have 2 more in inventory, so that'll be 4. Boilers should be... Here they are. Under production. Need a inserter. One, two is typical. Okay, noted. Get some more of these materials going in the background. Looks like since we added 2 more stone miners, Red Science isn't able to catch back up to these 10. Still want to move it at some point. Probably once we finish researching these materials, I'll move those sciences down here, I think. And they'll just feed directly into a set of some number. Looks like clean water is filling up the fastest in this setup, so we should probably grab whatever the biggest type of storage is. And down a couple. I don't actually know if we need to be storing it for anything soon, and at the very least it's made from water, so even if we did need to later, it's not like it's hard to come by. These I'm sure we'll be using to their fullest extent once we get started on stuff. Like, this definitely isn't enough acid for science, I'd have to imagine. Biggest one we have currently is just iron, I suppose, that we can make easily. So I'll throw down a couple. Because why not? So now the other half of green science will be oxygen. That will need another centrifuge, which I think we need more stone for. Let's go find a few more rocks. I think the next electric miner levels need green science. So I'm probably gonna have to hold up on upgrading stone mining at the moment until we're done with this. Let's get a second box for the iron too, since it's backing up. Boxes are under logistics, it looks like. What are the sizes on these? 27, 18. So I'll upgrade this one to iron for the moment. Then we'll just throw down another one of the stone ones. Which I guess all I did there was kind of like a pointless removing around of that, but I'm pretty sure we're going to move this one at some point. More than this one. That one's kind of fine there. Let's do this red science while we're here, before especially since this one doesn't have anything. We'll wait for this to finish. Whoops. Darn it, whatever. Doesn't matter. Nickel can wait a slight moment. Let me hit the one chest. Not sure what you mean. Like, I know you can limit these, but I don't think I want to currently. Unless you mean something else. Because at worst, I can just reverse these later on if I'm kind of happy with how much is in there. Can I move this? I think I'm going to move this one to the right to make sure we can move these. We can get inserts between the horizontal directions as well. Wow, there's literally just 2 tiny bits of water that I can't even walk over, blocking me from putting it down here. I guess we'll just go with 10 again. This one line. I guess if there's at least room for one, we may as well put these two down so I don't have to do any belt stuff. That was the issue though. These are still a tiny bit too close. I don't know if I want to move it, especially if we're not going to use it, so... I will just put down a belt for the time being, I guess. We'll have to wait until we get green science to make landfills to fill out this side. Will this one ever grab downwards? Like, okay, that answers that question. I guess it just checks to see how much is already in the next one. Alright then, looks good to me. That is pretty cool looking. I'm kind of glad they made that a thing. This has no electricity. Oh, I must have cut a wire. Yep. Fixed. And good on time. Alright, so finally, last half of green science. That is true. Forgot to put that back down. I think we'll make this side. Probably just flip this, except for whatever this makes, and it should be a lot less pipes we have to make, so it literally only makes 2 things. It makes a lot of it though, which means just like this clean water, it'll probably fill up fast if we only put a couple down. Probably gonna need to move this. Let's see. I'm gonna put down the pump first. Probably gonna have to upgrade that bottom pump if we decide to put a couple more of these down. But this is good enough for now. Don't think we can put it right there. Yeah, this whole section isn't really conducive to putting down a pump. Guess here's fine. There we go. Centrifuge. Got a bunch of pipes still. Tungsten and chrome I think are all that's left. Should be fine. And with this, we should be able to easily line these up next to each other if we make more, because we just have to flip it like that, and they'll still feed into the right pipes. We'll probably... Not quite sure we want to output these two sides to, because we only made enough for 6 lanes of stuff here, so we can't exactly move it downwards. I think what we'll probably do is move or get rid of all these wooden solar panels and make green signs over here. Okie dokie. See you in a little bit, Eisenwolf. And this will probably be where we make our science. It is surrounded by aluminum, But I think we had a lot of that elsewhere. We probably can afford to ignore this patch for space. So this will probably be our science area then. And then we'll move up the oxygen as well as the acid that way. So let me figure out how we're going to get acid up that way first. Probably don't need underground pipes there. Let's make another underground pipe. We'll run into a little bit of trouble if hydrogen needs to head down somewhere with one of these materials later on. But I think we are just fine to store them all over here. Put this down over here first, and then make a couple more, it looks like. Then we're finally almost ready to start making green science fluid. So we're gonna need yet another centrifuge for that. So let me go grab some stone quickly just to eyeball where those things need to go. Alright, so now we'll plop down this centrifuge somewhere over here. It'll probably need water just like that one does. So it'll probably be a good moment to consider where we're moving this set so that they both can pull off the same water source. May as well get a iron pump ahead of time. And science is almost going to need a lot of water for sure. So you need stone belts, copper power poles, oxygen, and acid. So the belts just need stone, and the power poles just need copper. Copper is right here, so that'll be fine. We are really low on stone still, though. So that will actually be a pretty big problem. And it's being used both for red science and green science. We might have to start thinking about heading toward just other stone earlier than I initially planned. But for now, I'll see if we can't hold off until we get our miner upgrades. Let me see what that'll take. This will probably be our first science after that. It will take a while. Did we have a mining tech we can immediately get other than that one? I think the answer was no. I could have sworn I saw something like that earlier on. But yeah, I think that's our best option. Just keep pressing inventory instead of F. Pick up this stone. There we are. 4 more. And these things are so slow. Actually, now that I think about it, it might honestly be worth, since we have this huge line of coal. It does pain me a little bit to use them. Go back to burner drills, because they're definitely way faster. As long as they can indeed mine stone. Just for the meantime. Can this be placed on stone? It's not look like it can either. Be placed on iron? I'm not entirely sure what the limitations are on these. Like, if it can definitely only be placed on... Nope, it can be placed on tin. Is that... I was gonna say, if it can only be placed on copper, and that's what the copper would mean. It's a burner drill only for copper. It can be placed on certain other materials, so it must be some kind of hardness or a mining power thing. I just have to figure out which one will be able to mine stone. The only other one we have access to is gold. But I usually think of gold as being pretty soft material, so I can't imagine if iron or something can't do it, that gold would be able to. It's worth checking. We did put this single furnace down here a really long time ago. Wow, that has made 2,000 gold. Yeah, that's what I suspect too, since... It's hard to say, really. Because when you use a pickaxe, it mentions hardness. Then again, pickaxes only have mining power, so I guess it is mining power against hardness. Where'd that gold go? Can we place on those? Let's go check iron and copper again. With this gold one. Nope, still cannot be placed on them. I mean, stone can definitely mine stone, which makes sense. But I just have to figure out which is the next tier when it comes to mining stone. I don't believe wood could mine it either. Stone's power is 5.5. And regular stone's hardness is 5. So I guess those are the two values we're looking at. So we're looking for one with a power above 5. Tungsten will definitely work. Rubber, obsidian, which we probably can't get going right now. Chrome. So I think it's just chrome and tungsten are our options. How do they compare speed-wise? Tungsten is slightly faster, but has a slightly smaller mining area, but they both have huge mining areas. I think we have a lot of tungsten nearby somewhere. Do we? Down here, up here, over here. I think I'll just get enough tungsten for 6 or so mining drills. And then stone should be good until that runs out, because that isn't a very large patch to begin with. It is true that tungsten makes hydrogen, but I think we're fine wasting hydrogen as long as it doesn't try and output it and stop because it can't. I wonder if there's like some kind of siphon for materials that we're not going to use. So I remember a mod that did something like that. Like, the recycler definitely probably could be used to that extent over in our liquid setup. Let's grab a furnace and a miner, I guess. What is its hardness? Now that I look at it, its mining hardness is 7.5, so I'm not actually sure that we're capable of mining tungsten. What's chrome's? 8.5. Yep. Guess can't do that after all. This looks like our R&D just stuck on stone mining drills for stone production for the time being, which is unfortunate considering we only have such a small patch to work with. So let me just go grab some more rocks, I guess, in the meantime, so that we don't have to for a little bit. Since it's definitely going to take too long waiting for those few miners to get going. Yep. And of course the issue with research is that it does take quite a while to get green science going, and the other texts that are necessary to get to those levels. So let's go finish green science. We just began setting up the outputs. I just need to make 2 storage areas for these oxygen and hydrogen. And then we should be good to go. Just put down 2 for now, and hopefully that'll be enough. I want it at around the same distance. That doesn't go quite far enough, but I think I'll leave it. The last material research going. And then I think we're good to get this started. They are offset by 1, so I do believe they'll be fine. This is using the same setup and hasn't had any mixing. Like, it is playing with fire having them so close together like that, but it actually is just totally fine. You just have to be careful to angle them right. Like, even if I flipped it, it won't connect since it's offset by just 1. That almost could have been really bad. The wrong one there. Definitely don't want to flip these 2. Power poles. Looks like it is quite slow at making this stuff. 15 seconds. Oh, now we have our outputs that we need for green science. We did go get stone because we need another centrifuge, which we now have. I'll expand this once we just get it going, because I really want to get green science started as quickly as possible. And we'll have, like, quite a while to wait on research anyway. So we'll spend that time just expanding out both of these as necessary. Like, even red science looks like it probably could use a bit of an upgrade. So I'll do both of those at the same time a bit later. Centrifuge is made. It looks like I did make one earlier and just forgot. But can never have too many, it looks like, especially since we're going to need more to expand later on. Don't think this is where we're putting it down for now, but I just want to see exactly where everything needs to come in and out really quickly. There's a lot of inputs for acid. Are those... Did I click the right thing? Green sign fluid. Oh, I got confused because I thought it had acid coming out as well. But if you look really closely, they are slightly different colors. Kind of unfortunate on their part though, making them look so alike. We should be good to get the power poles that it will also need for science, and the stone for the stone belts. That's it. Yeah, I agree. I think I'm gonna have stone head up this way, so I'm gonna move this. Like, I knew this wasn't gonna be final because I didn't even really like it how it was. But we're gonna need to move stone upwards for belt production for green science. So may as well move all this around right now. We'll just have that off to the right at some point, and we'll head that way. So now we can just put this back down, making sand, I do believe it was. There it is. And then sand we'll need to make. Alright, I think what we'll do here is underground belt. Save a single space, but we're gonna need a underground belt to do that, so I think that'll be fine. And then we'll just put these two furnaces to the left and right of them. These will just feed out directly into the belts, I suppose, for now. Now we can have stone heading up this way. I think we are going to want to shuffle this around. We do want ore going straight to it so we don't have to move it manually later. We have enough room. I think our inventory is getting a bit too full. Let's go dump some of this coal somewhere. These should be fine. So both green and red signs will be right next to each other. I think what we'll do is have a single line of both copper and iron ore split off so that red science can use them. Get another underground belt. So we are just going to build on top of this aluminum for now, since there's so much of it everywhere. This one patch won't matter too much. Let's try and get the spacing right for everything. So water will have to come from somewhere. I think it's fine to come out the sides, so we can just have a single red science head out to wherever we need to. Downwards, I suppose. And then we can just line them up this way, grabbing water from this direction. Gonna need to figure out the spacing on the filter production though. We're probably just gonna have like a single... Since filters are pretty much like barrels, we probably can afford to either have a loop or just like a chest with exactly as much as each 2 needs in every setup. I think I'm starting to see what I want to do with this. I think in between each centrifuge we're gonna have an iron and copper filter on each side that'll feed left and right as necessary. We'll have this mixed belt of copper and iron ore head right beside it. We're gonna need a splitter. This is the belt of ore. And we're probably gonna have to move this up and down because this is definitely not enough room to have multiple of these setups nearby each other. Should be fine to just have 2 sets of inserters, one going into each side and then one going out, and that should handle filters. But we will have to, whenever we start these up, manually give them 1 filter each. So that'll be iron for now. This will be copper. There we go. I have to remember which button it was just to give it 1. Got room for power. This will just be a test setup. See how well this works before we finalize it. Make multiple. We do need more iron ore production, it looks like, first though, before this will even start. Yeah, they'll be both grabbing from the same belt, so that's fine. We probably can afford to give this a couple of filters each. I just don't want to get clogged up at any point. What's the most the middle one can hold? It looks like the 2 is the answer. I think 3 will be fine. In each. And then we'll see if just 1 output is fine for now. Grab some more underground belts. I think, from what I've seen forever, and I've just had the first 2, like, I didn't realize that they'd be recyclable in the first place, so I had like a 200 made over here. It doesn't look like they've ever run out, so they're basically, should just be like barrels as far as I can tell. I was a bit surprised though, that it worked like that. I can imagine if it did have different states, there'd be like a recipe somewhere in here for it, and I didn't see anything like that. You just have all the different types. Like, I think it's more space efficient to run it like this, but I definitely could just have belts of the finished copper and iron one heads here, and then they'd have to output the used ones back somewhere else. But this should work for now. think we're just waiting on iron ore for red science to get started back up. Oh, and water. Did overlook water. We have enough room on both the left, the top or bottom right here to feed in water. We just will have to move the poles around a little bit. Water will come from around the same place as this line. We'll just have a central water line for both red science on this side and then green science on this side. What am I looking for here? I think I just need to make a bunch more pipes. Only just use underground pipes again for most of it though. Then split it off as necessary. I kind of would probably prefer if it needed to be like refurbished or something, because then you'd have a reason to like actually feed it out elsewhere. It would prevent this like really compact setup. Which I feel is probably a bit like too easy. But I guess we'll see what else the filters are used for later on before I make final judgment. Okay, I wonder what we're gonna need like coal and stuff for. We also have stone. Red science is still going fine. So these will have to come in on whatever this belt is going to be. I think this belt is the combined copper power lines and stone belts that green science will need. Let's get iron production started for sure though, first. So that red science is back up and running. Looks like we're out of copper for once. We should have a ton of that stockpiled still, I think, somewhere. Yep. Let's grab 400 for now, I guess. Level 9. You have unlocked the recipe for unknown key. Oh, looks like that's a bug or something. DyWorld wood creation. I imagine that's some of the farming stuff I might have seen, as far as like growing trees and stuff. I can't remember if that's this mod or not though. Where you can like grow trees to get an infinite source of wood. Assuming this other person can't hear me. Just tried casting a stream to Chromecast. I wonder if it's the fact I'm streaming at 1080p. Are there options for lower than 1080p on 1080p 60 FPS on video quality? Because if there aren't, I might have to figure out how to have options for lower quality settings. Oh, looks like they figured it out. But that is something that I don't know the details of, since I've never really thought about what would happen if someone wanted to use a setting that I'm not streaming. Might do quick belts for science. Yep, this mod adds a bunch of different versions of everything based on material types, and iron belts seem to be the fastest at this level, but I imagine there are even faster versions later on. Iron belt speed is 22. We technically have access to gold, which is 24 speed. Don't really... The units aren't items, apparently. I don't know exactly how fast they are, though. Yeah. I'm assuming your ICANN is to a pass thing. I've never really considered how like Twitch handles that though. Like if a person wants to run a lower setting to what you're streaming, they must just have a bunch of server-side stuff for that to handle that. Because there really isn't much options as far as bitrate and stuff when you look in OBS. Like outside of what you're gonna stream out to. Yeah, it's just something I never thought before. I like to just think over those things, since I like to do a little programming myself. And I occasionally just think to myself, I wonder how I'd do something like that if I had to, for some reason or another. It looks like we're finally getting some iron ore over to Red Science, so it's starting up again. I don't think we were fully out before, but we're at least continuing our chrome production. I think chrome is the last Red Science thing we needed for the moment, so this should be our last push towards getting green science over here. Just place it down, and then we'll get the liquid inputs in first. Is this too close? Yep, that's too close. Wait, does it matter? I think it does, since I think unlike with Red Science, we're feeding it all directly into this. Yep. I see. So we should be fine just to have just a regular old inserter grab stuff. Yeah. I'm definitely sure they don't give us the ability to use all the Twitch features just from the get-go. I was a little surprised, but I can understand why they do it, that VODs weren't automatic from last stream. They have to re-enable it. But I imagine that's just because they want to save space from people just like doing a stream once, then never streaming again or something. So that it doesn't just eat up all their storage for wherever they store all the VODs. As far as the new streamers are concerned. We need to turn this into stone belts before we get that going in over there. I don't think we want any of the other red science stuff we have. Considering we did want to potentially try moving up to tungsten and stuff, it might not be bad to momentarily get the pickaxes for whenever we decide to make that upgrade, since we won't be able to mine it immediately with miners, apparently. Aluminum, pretty easy to mine, though. I don't think this needs to go that far. We'll probably, just for the moment... Let's see, what did it need? It needed stone and copper. I guess one thing I could do is exactly the same thing I did here, except stone copper belt. And have one of these on each side. We'll try that and see how well this setup works before... Especially since we're running out of space in this area, I think it's going to be hard to set up like a long line of stone belt production or copper production elsewhere. So we'll just make as much as we need per centrifuge. And then if it makes any excess, it's always good to have at least the copper power poles boxed up somewhere. Or are they under? They are. They do need cables, which I don't think I noticed since I haven't tried to craft them yet. So we're going to need another assembly machine right next to that, which just extends out this sort of pattern an extra 2 tiles. Yeah, I remember playing it a really long time ago, and the major complaint was that it made everything way longer, but I kind of like that about it. It does indeed, though, add like 5 extra steps to just about everything, but I think it's worth it. Just as far as like satisfaction when you finally manage to sort it all out, because it does make some pretty interesting looking setups in the long run, trying to figure out how to sort like 5 different steps of production into like a small area. Alternatively, since we have like all this copper elsewhere, I could have a line of just iron and copper power poles, or even just, yeah, it probably would just be iron and copper power poles, and then it'd only be making, I keep saying iron, but it's actually stone. It needs stone belts, so it'd be stone and copper power cables. Can find here we are. Still get thrown off every time when I see pipes first. I'm like, this is the pipe tab, but nope, all the belt stuff is right below it. Stone belts. I honestly am not sure. We definitely had to unlock most of the the options beyond the first 5, as you can see with like miners. The mod usually gives you like the first 5 in a group, like wooden, stone, rubber, obsidian, and chitin, and these 2 it looks like you get through fighting biters. I'm not sure about rubber yet. I imagine you make that later on. And then you unlock the others through research, which have varying stat differences. I imagine there's probably some research that gives you extra bonuses, but of course there's always like modules and stuff still, which I imagine, I haven't seen the endgame yet in this mod, but I imagine it probably changes up some stuff with modules too, if I were to guess. Even if it doesn't, like, there's still pretty good differentiation between like what modules you decide to use on all these different stat variations of like assembly machines and stuff. Like even now I have like 5, 10, 17 different assembly machines I could possibly make. Which definitely is a little bit overwhelming at first, but you kind of like get used to which ones you want to immediately use, and then you can upgrade as necessary. So centrifuge again. So I think we are just going to go with stone and copper power cables. I think we'll probably make copper power cables. I'm thinking over on this side, and we'll just have a belt follow this copper line down here, because I want to dedicate this space entirely to science. No problem. I definitely wanted to play it, so I thought, why not stream it just to show other people this mod? Because it never has been like a really super, did I just say super? Super popular mod. Like even way back when. Like I'm gonna keep accidentally calling it DyTech because that's what it used to be called, but it's DyWorld now. Next question is, how do I want to get this over this way? I think we should be fine with a single underground belt. The distance should cover this little gap here. Yep, and we're just gonna have to move this power cable. Yeah, when I was looking over the changelogs, I realized it really has been a lot longer since I last played Factorio than I thought. It has to at least have been like 3 years, probably. I think just in case we want to duplicate some more furnaces over here, we'll just have the copper come up as close as possible, not to waste space later on. Since we only want it like up here, but we don't want to mess with our furnace setup too much. I definitely gave Bob's mod a good try a couple times, but I never quite gave Angels a shot. I guess I can definitely save some space here. Belts. So copper in, power cables out is ideally what will happen here. I'm not quite sure the direction I want everything to head in. I think we'll do it horizontally. And we should be fine to get like 3 assembly machines. Just making 1 wire and then two separate power pole ones. 15 hours, that's usually what it is with mods. Like, I sometimes consider the time estimates, like, people, including myself, say for Factorio, and I'm like, any other game, and those time estimates would be absolutely crazy ask, but it's like, Factorio is just such a fun game that almost, like, regardless of what, like, mods or anything you're using, it's just so easy to soak up time. Let's see. Copper wires are somewhere here. Oh, just remember there's this find feature. Huh. That can't be right. Oh, I guess it's cable and not wire. I did have a quick look at it, but I did think, at least with this mod, it isn't the right fit, having like 2 mods that change like a whole bunch of stuff on top of each other, but I definitely look forward to trying that one out at some point. Cable. This makes 2 every 0.5 seconds, so 4 a second, and these will need about 4 a second. So I guess 1 is probably good enough per each. And these just both need to eat copper, obviously. Probably gonna need more than 1 each, I imagine. We'll try that for now. We'll just output them up this way. And then give it power and it should get started. Yeah. It's not connected still. Just did it off by 1. There we go. Need to fix that belt. Yep, looks like it's going just fine. I do probably want at least a second one because, I don't know, it just looks kind of sad just having it on 1 line. I could always use a splitter, but I imagine we're probably going to need more than 1 of these at some point anyway, so. Traffic speed 1 point. What am I using here? I'm using copper ones. May as well make these other 2 out of copper. It's not like we were using our copper up until this point anyway, so I'm fine to just have these guys eat as much of it as they want need to go that far, I guess. Is this going fast enough? Yeah, I just realized this probably needs 2 as well. I fix this, that it looks better. That was not the right button to press. Still not the right button to press. Isn't there a key to copy one assembly machine to another? I haven't used it yet this playthrough. Shift. There we go. I did accidentally just shoot this twice. Probably should grab... Okay, I made these earlier. Fixed. This needs to go underneath. There we go. Got a full belt of copper power cables made now. And I really didn't think this through quite as much as I should have. We have copper coming from up this way, and then stone coming from down this way, and we wanted to have them on a single line. So I think we're gonna have to rethink this slightly. We could just pretend that we were going for max throughput and have 2 lines, which I think we might just do, so that we don't have to move nearly as much around. But it is a little bit of a waste of belts. Wrong direction here. All things considering, I think stone should be on the closest one since assembly machines are going to be eating those. Let's finish moving these this way. And then we should only have like one more step to finally get green science going. Which should open up a lot of options for us as far as where we want to go next. These once again are going in the wrong direction. There we go. Then we'll see if one assembly machine is enough for the moment. So it makes 2 per 3 every 0.5 seconds. So one should probably be able to power 2 centrifuges. So we'll probably have it go right and left, but we'll just do one for now. And this needs a long inserter to grab the power poles, which should need way less of. And then all that's left is to hook up the liquid that it needs. So acid needs to come from the left, I mean the bottom, and then oxygen from the top. And then we'll finally have this green science fluid starting. I guess I should have a quick peek at what else green science needs besides this fluid. Here we are, needs glass. So we already have glass being made over here. Is that all red science needed too beside it? That makes sense. Yeah, I guess the glass is supposed to be the beaker. The liquid goes into it. So we can either I am thinking that it might just be better to make these two green science and have the green science lane go right here, and then they'll just all lead into this area. We'll have to put down more inserters going like to the right as well. We'll just have a little matrix of science. Let's see, we have 10, let's get 12, and we'll try and make a 4x4 square. Whoops. So we won't be able to put them all down just yet, thanks to these little piles of water, those little ponds, puddles really. Yes, we are going to be deleting this either way at this point. That too far? That's too far. So we're gonna skip that one. Oh, I really miscounted there. I guess we're going for 16, not 12, so I need another 4. Then may as well put the green science stuff back down while that's being made. Alright. Where was it? Can it be made? I guess I can use a search function. It needs... should be able to be made here, so there we go. Yes, I was blind, as usual. These will grab from there. Clean up some of these pipes a little bit. Probably doesn't need to go that far, I guess, now I think about it. And then we'll just make a little storage container for green science right before we have the red one. I was kind of hoping this would run out at some point so that we'd be able to move it easily, but I kind of don't want to waste all the resources that are currently in it. So I guess it'll just be staying there for a while. I actually do have just enough room to get this there and not mix with anything else. So I will just keep it there. So we have these two over here. They just need to find their way this way now. We have all the room we need really on the acid side. Yep, everything should work out space-wise. I think we are looking good to wrap up green science around when I wanted to move on to slay the Spire. I didn't get a chance to tell you yesterday, but I do think I wanted to keep this a two-part stream, mostly because Factorio is quite intensive thought-wise, and that does wear me out quite a lot. So I wanted like a relaxing game to play before calling it quits for the night, really. So I think, like, I thought might be a good idea to pick up Spire, so I've been wanting to play that as well for a while. And that might be the closing game. It usually will probably only be like an hour segment or so, maybe less even, depending on how tired I am. That'll probably be in about 15 minutes. But I definitely will go a bit longer depending on if we get green science in time. I need to get some more of these underground pipes. Just about hooked up now. Now we just need to output the green science down to that storage container, and then we're finally starting on green science. Only 5.5 hours into this save file. It's definitely the longest it's taken me to get the green science in quite a while. I need a lot of different inserters, I think. Looks like we're out of iron. Still have plenty boxed up. Grab another 400 for now. I think I'll try just having the left and right stuff on the top row. That should be fine. Oops. Don't need anything there. Until we get landfills, that is. Man, it's gonna be really confusing trying to keep an eye on which one of these is acid and which one is green science, and I have to fiddle around with moving them later. It'd be really bad if we accidentally mix them up like in a pipe. It looks like it might still be red inside of a thing. Yeah, now that I have this belt, I was holding on to it if I ever had to refill this stuff. But never got around to it, so I'll just throw them into these for now. We do need not aluminum, but I think it's tin for crafting something that we use semi-regularly. If it's solar panels, then I guess technically we don't need it anymore, since we're not going to go back to solar panels for a while. Now we just need the final few pipes. Looks like I accidentally left some inserters there from earlier. And are we good? We are good. We're finally making green signs, it looks like. Make sure it goes everywhere needed to. We need to go right over here, but other than that it should be fine. Red should find its way down this way through that. Let's pick a science now. I think we were going to go straight for electric miners. And then we'll do some more important stuff after that, but we definitely want to increase our throughput of things like stone before then. I think we're low on electricity. Yep. So I think we need to build a second boiler. Or is it just water we might need or something? There's always the possibility that one boiler isn't enough. For two even, at full power. Which there are a couple ways to rectify that. Let me go check on science quickly. Yep, I must have deleted those at some point when moving stuff around down here. Thank you for pointing it out. Yep, red science is getting down here just fine. Is green science going properly? It's currently full, it looks like. Oh, that might be an issue I just noticed. These primitive labs can't use green science yet. Did not expect that. Oh, I guess we have one last red science research to go. Then I imagine we'd be fine afterwards. Yep. Didn't realize that until this very second. Kind of considering if it's worth doing something like this with boilers. Or will that have too much for a single pipe? The highest capacity pipe we have currently is 800, which is iron still. They can't exactly... Alright, so what I need to do then is make sure that they can still get coal. I'm gonna have to move this water slightly, I think. And this should be slightly more space efficient if it does work the way I think it will. And then we'll be able to see exactly how much a single boiler can feed into a... what are they called? Let's see. Steam engine, that's it. This is partly why I decided on adding a second game to the lineup, because by this point, as you can tell, my commentary and such starts to lose focus a little bit. I'm looking for pipes. Pipes, pipes, pipes. And I definitely would rather just play Factorio while I'm able to make progress rather than just derping around for like an hour when it should only take like 10 minutes to do something. So next for the generators. And I'm once again being absolutely blind. That's where they are in my inventory. So let's see if this can power twice as much stuff. And of course, it's gonna look so ugly, but I think we're just gonna do that for a second to see if it can. The answer should be no, because 2 already couldn't do 4 earlier. I just want to make sure that it can at least do the same level of power generation it was doing earlier. Whoops. Wait, I see, we need to put a coal in manually first, since they've been off completely. These pipes are pretty much empty, so they definitely can hold more than 2 boilers worth of steam. It's definitely getting all consumed by these two before even making it this far currently. But let's give it a second to warm up. .9. How does that compare to what we were at earlier? Slowly warming up back to original levels, I think. So I think the answer is just piling up a whole bunch of steam into one of these iron pipes. To try and get more bang for buck when it comes to space used. Can it use 3 just fine, like this setup currently? I guess we can do the math if we just look at... Don't think it says how much steam it produces, like, per second or anything like that. Let's say over here. I kind of doubt it. Oh, it does. So they produce about 3.5 each. And 100% of it's getting consumed right now. Let's see how much 2 consumes. And we can decide how many boilers we need per afterwards. So 2 makes about 3.55 steam each. And then each boiler consumes about 2.65, which is a bit awkward as far as ratios go. So 3 will make consume slightly more than 2 can produce, it looks like. Which I think is fine for our purposes. So I think we'll just have 2 going into 3 as far as this setup's concerned. So we'll make one more set of these, and I think as long as green science is going, I think we might call it there for today as far as Factorio is concerned. And then I'll probably play just like a run or 2 of Slay the Spire, depending on how bad I am at it. And I definitely will not obligate you to watch that, since I know you're mainly here for Factorio, Eisenwolf, but it is completely up to you, I suppose. And then, as far as Factorio is concerned, I will be continuing tomorrow around the same time. That is the plan. I think tomorrow's goal will just be figuring out what we need to research with green science, as well as just seeing what we unlock, I guess, and what goals those will provide. Let's make 2 more wooden steam engines. Gonna need some more wood for that, it looks like. Yep. No problem. I definitely no need to say thanks, because if anything, I went into this realizing I may mostly just be streaming for myself. So to even have 1 viewer, it's really I should be the one saying thank you, even. So thank you. I think I will let Improve Labs finish first. Just because I did say I would end once green science has started, and we don't actually have a way to consume green science yet. So I'd rather not wait like 10 minutes at the beginning of next stream for this science to finish. They're all running almost constantly. I think it's just because of the electricity they're not all always running. So once we sort this out, red science should finish this faster. Should have grabbed some wood so we can make that last steam engine. So we're going to make some more pipes as well. I really should automate those at this point, since it looks like this mod uses a ton of liquid stuff. So we're pretty much always going to have a need for pipes. If this puddle wasn't here, I honestly was going to try a 4-boiler setup and see how far that could go. But just by flipping it and then having the steam continue onwards. I might try it with this line next stream, but 6 should be enough power currently. 2 does enough for 2 and about 2/3 of a wooden steam engine. I really should see what we need to get for the next level of steam engines as well. It probably is something with green science, though. We're just gonna have to wait till next stream. 2 more inserters. And lastly, the steam engines. Yep. That is also pretty true. I will definitely get a couple of landfills. That'll probably be like 2nd or 3rd on the green science priority list, just so I can fix like these small spots like in the middle of some important places. But I won't go like filling in entire lakes, definitely. I think it's only like 50 science to get landfills or something like that. Yeah, 50 of each. That's not too big of an ask. Yep, we're good on power. Is there anything else we need to get done before this research finished? I did want to get some turrets down. I don't think walls are going to be an option really with how little stone we have. But now that I think about it, DyWorld adds a bunch of different walls, which I hadn't considered. Don't have access to anything other than stone and wood though, and those are pretty annoying to get ourselves. Yep, that is another thing that should be pretty easy to research. That's 80. This one might be limited by our ability to produce these vials, beakers, because it's a 15-second research, but it still should be pretty fast. Looks like we are definitely not getting enough stone even for one assembly machine of transport belts, which is kind of sad. So that'll definitely be top priority next stream. I guess I should add that over here, since we're almost certainly done with green science now. Stone production. So that is now number 1 on the to-do list. I guess it looks like we will probably want to at least increase our copper mine next stream, so I'll leave that on there. I don't really think we have the resources currently for automate anything else besides belt construction. Like I turned that off a little while ago, so that's technically done. And then basic defenses I'll just put a question mark next to for now, since I don't know if I'm gonna research any of this stuff that isn't made of stone to do that. We're already getting kind of full on red science, and I think I will just leave that to fill up and turn off whenever it's done. It looks like one, honestly, of each is enough for our current research numbers. It looks like we might want slightly faster red science production, which now that I think about it, we do have 2 gold assembly machines. Let me see if we can keep up with that. Though I guess we'll just have to see if that actually changes anything. I'll put down a second set of inserters as well. That is true. But we actually are finally using up copper at the right rate. That'll probably set up once we double our copper production next stream, it looks like. And we got improved labs, so I think before queuing up any other research, we're just going to quickly build those better labs, and then green science can start immediately next stream. What do these need? So we're going to pick up all our primitive labs first, I think, since they just need one to be upgraded. Going to have red science everywhere while I do this, it looks like. I guess I should have left some of those first inserters there, since they definitely didn't need to be moved. So we had 16. And then once we put these down, I think that'll be it for our Factorio segment until tomorrow. So I guess just as a quick recap of today's progress, we set up all this liquid stuff down here. I'm not quite sure what we need to use some of the stuff like sludge water and sewage water for. That is probably going to be a late game DyWorld thing. Some of these are getting kind of full. And since this is necessary for green science production, we probably are going to have to expand it so that it doesn't stop when it gets full. So let me put that actually in the to-do next time. Check on green science liquids. Making our last lab. Then we just have to re-put down those first green science inserters. And we should be good to go next time. Let me just make sure it all fills out properly. So we will queue up. That was a good question. What did I say? We need stone production, so that is electric miners. That definitely won't be done before I wrap up. But it looks like it is heading to where it needs to. So thank you very much for watching once again, Eisenwolf. And I think we are going to move on to slay the Spire in a second. So let me just save. Our to-do list has been updated for next stream. I didn't get a chance to use the new stream overlay bits I had last time. I guess now's a good time to point it out. It's kind of funny, actually, Eisenwolf. If I turn it on, you are currently the only name I think it displays. Recent events. Let's see. Why isn't it popping up yet? Like I added 2 more Streamlab overlay bits for both follower goal and Streamlab events. For a reason now they don't seem to be popping up. Should probably check on that after the stream, but it shouldn't be necessary anyway yet, since there's not exactly much going on in chat to warrant it. But it's good to be prepared for later on, I suppose. Oh, that's that. Let me turn on my weight overlay, I do believe. Let's see, I think I can change the text. From... Yep, there we go. And I will take a minute to stretch and grab a new water bottle. So, see you when whichever stream you decide to watch next. I should be streaming this for quite a few days ahead of behind tomorrow as well. Like, we almost certainly won't wrap up even in like the next 10 streams, I imagine, of Factorio. So feel free to drop by whenever you want. Alright then. Be right back. Hello, and we are back with Slay the Spire. This will be my first time giving it a try. I have watched a fair bit on YouTube, but I haven't seen like much in the way of like advanced strategies or anything like that, so there's still quite a lot to figure out ourselves moving forward here. I won't be playing for too long, seeing as I just had a 2-hour stream of Factorio. So this will be our final game to wrap up with. I just wanted to give it a quick go since I picked it up literally a couple hours before the stream started. It should be interesting to see how well we can do in our first run, I suppose. We only have access to the first class. Don't remember its name, but I remember the second one is like a poisony class. So we only need to complete a single run for that one. The Ironclad. The remaining soldier of the Ironclads sold his soul to harness demonic energies. He has Burning Blood. At the end of combat, heals 6 HP. Alrighty then. Let's just jump right into it, I suppose. Let me double check that nothing's being blocked by the UI we have up currently. I don't think we'll need to turn on the clock and stuff we had earlier. I would like, now that I think about it, to have... Let me turn the studio mode back on. The uptime counter we had earlier on, though. Let me move that over into this. There we are. Move that as necessary momentarily. Let us take a look at what our starting routes look like. We have two choices. I'm not quite sure what the best balance of question marks and fights are currently. I think we'll pick the right route since we're literally just learning the game. It looks a tiny bit easier. I'm not sure we're quite ready to try out elites or anything just yet. Achievement unlocked, Purity. Defeat enemies by playing cards. I think we can probably afford to skip the tutorial since I have seen a bit of the game beforehand. We're gonna be hit for 11. We can block for 10. We don't have weak or anything like that or any potions off the get-go. So I think we'll just try to take as little damage as possible in these starting fights. We have the ability to heal up, so any little bits of damage we take just like that shouldn't matter in the long run. It's gonna block, so I think we'll just go for 3 strikes. And I think that was a good first 2 turns, all things considered. Okie dokie, get our cards back from the discard pile. Just gonna attack for 10 again. We can do 18 damage, but he does have 6 blocks, so I think we are just gonna want to wait a turn again. Don't think we'll have enough to kill him. We'll try bash and a strike and see if we can kill him next turn. This has 11 health. And we have 12 damage. Probably more than 12 damage because I can't. Not sure where to see how much a vulnerable adds onto it, but I do know it applies extra damage. Then we get our first card selection, and this is like one of the main draws of the game, obviously, so you get to build your deck as you go along. I'm not quite sure what kind of deck we want to go for. off the bat. Armament seems pretty good. Against one enemy, Sword Boomerang is definitely better than our basic strikes, but I don't think enough so that it's worth getting at this point in time over these two. I imagine this probably stacks up a pretty high amount of damage with strength buffs. I'm leaning towards either cleave or armament, but I don't think we need to worry about AoE as much of this early on. So I think I'll give armament a try, and then we'll probably remove a block at next opportunity. Maybe we'll end up going for like some kind of block-oriented deck. Among the stone boulders, you notice an intricate, large blue statue resembling a wing. You find gold spilling from its cracks. Maybe there's more inside. Wing statue. We can pray to remove a card from our deck and lose 7 HP. Or leave. I think we will just pray right off the bat, since we did. We did just pick up an upgrade to one of our blocks, really. We'll try to stay at around a lower number of cards because we want to make sure the cards that we pick we see often enough to actually use. I don't know what the ideal number of cards to keep is currently, but that's something we'll sort out as we go along, I suppose. Come across an inconspicuous pedestal with a shining gold idol sitting peacefully atop. It looks incredibly valuable. You sure don't see any traps nearby. Golden idol. So we can receive the golden idol to trigger a trap, which I imagine is a set artifact or something. And I imagine the trap will probably be some kind of debuff. I think we'll go for it just to see what it is, and then we'll know probably on future runs whether or not it is worth it, depending on where we're standing. So that gives 25% more gold. Okie dokie. Game giving us a tip. So as you grab the idol and stow it away, a giant boulder smashes through the ceiling into the ground next to you. You realize the floor is slanted downward as the boulder starts to roll towards you. We can become cursed, get an injury, take 20 damage, or we can lose 6 max HP. I think we're fine to take the 20 damage. So I think we'll go for that currently. You throw yourself at the boulder with everything you have. When the dust clears, you can make a safe way out. Sounds good. So now we have another fight. You have 2 louses. They have curl up, so they gain block upon taking damage once per combat, it looks like. And they're going to do 12 damage to us. So I think we'll block twice, and then strike one of them to pop their curl up. Because I don't think we're going to one-shot them with any of the cards we have in our deck currently. Probably want to armament if we can this turn. Though, if we want to take the least amount of damage, definitely want to play a block, but now I think that armament is a block, so I think we're good for an armament and 2 strikes. Oh, we can pick something to upgrade. It shouldn't matter too much this combat. But it's good to note that it lets us select ourselves. I don't know why I thought it was random. It probably would have said if it was random. Yep, seems good. Let's see, can we take him out this turn? We bash and then strike. That alone is 17 damage, and that does have 6 lock on curl up. So that means he has effectively 22 HP. This is 12 plus 9, which is 21. So I think we will just bash and then strike once. Because I think either way he was going to have 1 HP left. And this way he's at least vulnerable next turn, even though it doesn't matter at 1 HP. Just good to get those habits going for future battles, I guess. Got an Ancient Potion. Gain 1 artifact. Is there no reason not to drink it immediately? Whenever you play an attack this turn, gain 4 block. That's a skill. Gain 2 strength, and at the end of turn lose 2 strength. Or deal 6 damage and deals an additional +2 for all of your cards in your deck containing strike. So I think if we are heading toward some more block focused deck, we should probably go for Rage. Because that'll give us plenty of opportunities to gain block over our strikes that we currently have. Later date. He's not doing anything of importance this turn. We could dump everything at a damage, but I think we might upgrade Bash for next time we see it and then just use it immediately. So now he has Ritual. At the end of the turn, gain 3 strength. That should be alright. So this is pretty much a superior defend at this point in time, since we are going to want to block and then strike. And this will give us 8 compared to 5 for regular defend. So we won't be taking any damage. The last card of our deck is a strike. So we can potentially upgrade something else again. This is 18 damage currently. That's not enough to kill him. So I think we're just going to try not to take damage this turn. And then hopefully we'll be able to finish him off next turn. Yep, that should be plenty of damage. Power cards. So there's something to be said for this if we get a lot of skills to thin our deck in the middle of a battle. We do have armaments and that other card, Rage, I think it was. I'm leaning towards Headbutt since I don't think we're going to get a lot of corruption at this point in time. Maybe later on once I have more skills. I don't think we need a second armament, though it does give us a reason to replace one of our defends again. If I think about it, if we get Headbutt after having played armaments, we pretty much can guarantee we get it a second time anyways. So theoretically, we don't have any card draw, so we can't exactly make use of this in a single turn. So I think we will just go for Headbutt. And then probably remove something from our deck at some point, if we can. Just gonna do 10 damage. I think we're gonna armament on bash, defend, and then strike. This guy steals our money, so we're gonna take him out pretty quickly. Gain one artifact. Artifact negates the next debuff. So I definitely haven't seen this version before in what I watched. So it's good to know that it means a different type of artifact effect than I thought it did before I accidentally just wasted it. So next time we think an enemy is going to debuff us, we're going to want to try and throw that down. We can do 10 damage again. We don't exactly have a good way to block that. I don't believe we can kill him. Definitely has way more HP. We'll probably just throw down a single defend, headbutt. Even getting a bash back, I don't think it'll be enough to finish him off next turn. So we'll just go for a strike. And by strike, I mean armaments. Strike is what we use at the end there. He isn't attacking us. Maybe armaments wasn't the best choice. I wonder if it just swaps back and forth between defensive and attacks. I think we will just bash and then strike. And then next turn we should almost assuredly be able to take him out. He has 14 HP. Yep, that is indeed enough. Slowly gaining back our HP from after getting that golden idol earlier. So next choice is Rage, Body Slam, or True Gift, Grit. I almost said I don't see the benefit in True Grit, but thinning your deck is not that bad of an option. And if you play it like last in the turn, you usually can like have your hand whittled down to whatever cards you want removed from your deck. But I think it being random at the moment is a bit too harsh of a penalty, like in our deck currently, since we have like no way of getting extra energy to make sure our hand is nice and small for when we want to use this, as well as card draw. Don't think we need a second Rage. Body Slam could be a good option though, considering the direction we're taking our deck. So I think we'll go for that. So now we can go to a campfire. We can rest or smith. Don't think we need a rest. Let's upgrade a card. I think armaments is the right choice. So we'll just go straight for that. Another question mark. Big fish. As you make your way down a long corridor, you see a banana, a donut, and a box floating above. No, upon a closer inspection, they are all tied to strings coming from holes in the ceiling. There's a quiet cackling from above you as you approach the objects. What do? You can heal 26 HP, gain 5 max HP, or receive a relic and become cursed with regret. Regret is unplayable. At the end of your turn, lose 1 HP for each card in your hand. I'm leaning towards 5 max HP, I think. So we'll just go for that. You eat the donut, it really hits a spot. Your max HP increases. Alright, so we'll leave, I guess. So we can go left and right now. There's treasure either way on the next node. After that, we have another campfire on the right, or a shop to the left. There are no more shops on the right, so I think we will go left. Are there any elites along the way? Doesn't look like there's any elites past this point, either direction we choose. So we'll go left and see what the chest gives us. 80 gold and bottled like lightning. Upon pickup, choose a skill card at the start of each combat. This card will be in your hand. Starting with armaments might not be that bad of a choice. I think we'll go with that, especially compared to these other options. I don't see why I wouldn't pick that. Nope, that's that. On to the next fight. So we have 2 enemies attacking us for 18 damage. We will probably armaments first. Our body slam will do 13 damage. If we block. As long as we kill this louse, we'll take no damage, so I think that's what we're gonna do. Even though it is a bit of overkill. Let's see, so he's gonna do 8 damage this turn. That's probably gonna be a rage, a strike, and a headbutt. Half our deck is already updated, or upgraded pretty much, so I don't think we need to pick armaments for next turn. Bash might not be a bad idea to get a lot of damage done. It all really depends on what we're going to play after that, and I don't even think like a strike plus would be able to kill him in a single turn. So I think we might go for... we have 3 more strikes. So our hand is going to be whatever we pick, 3 strikes, and then a random card. I guess armaments upgrading those 3 strikes is probably the best choice, seeing as we're probably going to need to play for like another turn or 2 against this guy afterwards. We are now vulnerable, and he is going to inflict a negative effect on us. We could Ancient Potion, but if we can kill him by like next turn, we might not need to worry about that. Might be better off saved against like a really bad debuff against like a boss or something. We'll just do 18 damage, make it easier for us to finish him off next turn. It's gonna entangle us. Not play attacks for 1 turn. Knowing that what that was now, probably would have used the potion. But we have plenty of defense anyway, so I guess it didn't matter. And we probably can finish him off now. Yep, just bash, strike. Poison Potion, and another card selection. We have 8 block, draw a card. Deal 4 damage and apply 1 vulnerable to all enemies. The way this is worded, I'm not entirely sure if it's deal 4 damage and 1 vulnerable to all enemies, or deal 4 damage to 1 enemy and 1 vulnerable to all enemies, but I'd have to imagine it's both to all enemies. Both Pommel Strike and Shrug It Off I think are better options at the moment. And if we're going for block synergy, I think it might be Shrug It Off. Especially if we can upgrade the card that lets us attack with our block, since it'll be 0 mana. Pommel Strike is a strike card though, and has the same effect. Can we see our deck currently? We're at 14 cards. What does our percentages look like? We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 cards relegated to attacking, and 5 to defending. So I think we'll go for Shrug It Off in that case. And it'll pretty much cycle itself anyway, even though it takes some mana. So we're gonna go to our first shop. Alrighty. We have 272 gold. It's enough to buy potentially a couple things. We have a power, fire breathing. We have secret technique, which lets us grab whatever skill we want from our deck, I do believe. With how small our deck is currently, that shouldn't be necessary, since we'll get almost everything we need in due time. Fiendfire seems like it's more of like a finisher card, but I don't think it really fits in our deck archetype. Offering could be good. Don't think we want to double tap. Then let's look at our artifacts before we decide if we want to card or not. Whenever you obtain a curse, increase your max HP by 6. It's pretty tempting. Every time you play 3 attacks in a single turn, gain 4 block. That could be good on turns that we don't grab, that we're unlucky and don't draw our defends. And then, whenever you add a power card to your deck, it is upgraded. Ornamental Fan theoretically could be alright in the current state of our deck, but I don't think it's super important for what we eventually want to get out of it. There's also card removal service. Let's have a look at what we could potentially remove. There's something to be said for removing a basic strike at this point in time, since we have like headbutt and such. I don't think we want to move basic defend just yet, until we get at least one more upgrade that isn't like a draw card as well. So once again we have 5, 6, 7, 8 attack cards and 6 defend cards. So I think a strike might be the go-to option. That'll be 75 if we do that. We can't get Ornamental Fan, but we can get Offering, I think, on top of that. So I think we might go for Offering and a strike. The Offering isn't the greatest, probably for slower decks like ours is going to be. And we don't exactly have a way to heal. So maybe we can just get away with grabbing an artifact. We have 2 fire potions and a swift potion. I think we're fine not picking any of those up. I was going to avoid getting most curses, but this would give me a reason to. If we get more energy, Ornamental Fan will work out with synergies better. The only potential option we have for energy is Offering, and we can't buy both at the same time. I think we'll just go for a strike removal, for sure. And then we might just save up what we have left. Like against normal enemy fights, Offering would be pretty good. Maybe I'll give it a try. I'll give Offering a try. We'll see how it works in this deck. I don't think it'll be great later on, but I think for now it should do plenty of work. So we're gonna take 10 damage potentially. So we're just gonna ornament. Don't think we're gonna get play Rage. Rage definitely would have given us enough block though. But we can just go ahead and kill one of these louse now. Still take no damage. Now I think about it, I almost said we should have gone for the 12 HP one, but that one's not attacking, so that would have been kind of pointless. So only one is attacking this turn. Seems to be buffing up its strength, this other one. That shouldn't matter too much. It only has 16 HP otherwise. I'm gonna shrug it off so we don't take any damage, regardless of what we choose to do. Because I think if we can... see, 16 and 17 HP. I don't think we can kill either one of them, which is a bit unfortunate. So I may have misplayed there slightly. I probably should have just went and killed this one. Oh, just go ahead and damage it for now. And then take back. Probably just strike plus to try and finish things faster next turn. Strike plus will deal with him. And so we'll just damage him for now. Oh, that's right. Their block doesn't last over a turn anyway. So yeah, we will just win. Not too shabby. Gain 5 block, deal 5 damage. Skills cost 0 whenever you play a skill exhausted. We saw that earlier. Then draw 1 card and place a card from your hand at the top of your draw pile. This one is more suited to slower decks like ours, I think, since we can plan a turn ahead. Iron Wave is a good middle ground, I think. I think we might Warcry though, since it'll give us slightly more flexibility. But Iron Wave will certainly be better later on, probably, I think. As far as replacing current cards in our deck. We grabbed Offering earlier, so I think we'll go for Iron Wave instead. So we've got 4 smaller enemies, a Gremlin Wizard, a Mad Gremlin, a Fat Gremlin, and a Sneaky Gremlin. We have Offering in our opening hand. We could Armaments into Offering, and I think that gives us an extra energy. But I mean, it only affects Offering once, obviously, but if we're going to Armaments it all this turn, we should definitely do it first, I think. Let's take a look. Does not give us more energy, but does give us more card draw. Let's see what we end up getting. They're going to deal 17 damage to us, and we have 5 block currently. So we need another 12 block, ideally. We have Body Slam, so should be fine to shrug it off and then defend. And then Body Slam can kill something. Don't know what's the best order to kill these in. What does this do? Angry. Whenever Mad Gremlin takes attack damage, it gains 1 strength. So we're going to want to try and one-shot him. If we can. Probably didn't need to block as much as we did if we're going to kill one of these guys. We definitely can kill the 9 damage one. So I think... yeah, that probably was a slight misplay. Let's kill the 25 HP one then. all things considered. Since that's the least wasteful as far as mana goes, I think. I'm not sure what we'll get back next turn as far as block goes. We actually do have potentially 10 block or something, so we'll take Body Slam back. And it'll basically be an extra mana next turn. And we can deal 9 damage to something. Or we could block again, but that's kind of pointless. So let's go for 9 damage on... What are we grabbing next turn? We're getting Body Slam, Iron Wave. That'll be enough for sure to kill almost anything. So we'll just do 9 damage to the one that won't gain strength. So that we don't take damage this turn. Realizing that it's only 1 strength though, we probably wouldn't have taken damage anyway, but we're weakened now, which is unfortunate. So we're going to want to block up a lot again. I think to get the most damage done, it would be Rage, Strike, Iron Wave, and then Body Slam. Yep. So we can do 11 damage. Nothing else is upgraded, so there's something to be said for armaments. And that'll make it so we take no damage no matter what. I think we'll just resign to the fact that this will take another turn. We don't need any more blocks, we'll just play both damage cards, I guess. Then we can just kill him, I think. Yep. Not too bad. We've consistently gone up in health, so... So we have Hemokinesis, lose 3 HP, deal 14 damage. Clothesline, deal 12 damage and apply 2 weak. We don't have any sources of weak, but it is 2 mana cost, which I don't think fits very well in our deck right now. As well as we don't really need to weaken our enemies as much since we're going for lots of block. And then there's Flex, which we also don't need, so I think we're just going to skip this set of cards. On to the next node. Nope, definitely want to skip that set. We have Question Mark, or 2 Campfires, or a Fight and then 2 Campfires. Let's... If we do the Fight, we'll almost certainly be at full HP for the boss, but I think with these 2 Campfires afterwards, and being only 3 HP under, that doesn't matter too much. So, first Question Mark. So it was a fight anyway. We have a Fungi Beast and a Spiked Slime. It has Spore Cloud, which on death applies vulnerable for 2 turns, so we're going to want to try and kill that one last if we can. This one's going to give a negative effect of some sort. Don't currently know what kind of negative effect that will be. I think as usual we're going to go for armaments to get 4 upgrades. They're going to do 14 damage to us. So I think we'll shrug it off. And then Iron Wave Body Slam something. That'll do a total of a lot. Let's see if we can not get... I was gonna say not get debuffed, but we are off by 2 damage, so that looks like it's gonna happen regardless. That's fine though, we can kill it next turn. Even if we get weakened or something like that, and we're gonna take no damage this turn. We got a wound. We don't have a way to remove that from our hand or anything like that. So if it does come up, it will be a little annoying. We're just gonna kill the slime, I think. Headbutt this guy and probably just defend once. What do we want back? Turn on attack again. I think it's not too bad upgrading the next hand, so I think we'll grab armaments. And then just block once. We just kill it, I think. Yep. Didn't even need armaments. Can get a second Shrug It Off if we want. Or a Pommel Strike again. I think Shrug It Offs have been pretty good value for us so far, though. Let me take a look at our ratio, though. Let's see, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 block cards. So I think we are probably fine to take another Shrug It Off. And then just block through most turns. And we probably can get rid of regular defend at this point. Let's go to a campfire. Doesn't matter which. So we can upgrade a card. Since we're already at full HP, we don't need to rest. So what do we want to upgrade? Offering gives 2 more cards. What does Shrug It Off become? 11 block. Body Slam becomes 0 permanently, which is pretty good. But we already kind of armament it pretty often. But that also goes for most cards anyways, so I guess we'll just go for Body Slam just in case we don't get it in our opening hand or like our second go around. And that just leaves us with the boss. I think we're pretty well prepared, but I have no idea any of their like patterns or anything like that. So we'll just see what happens as we go, I guess. It's gonna block and use a buff. If we do 30 damage, I do believe that'll interrupt it though. The question is, can we do 30 damage? And I think the answer is probably no. This will do 5. Yep. I don't see a way of doing 30. So I think we might just bash it. And then Body Slam. So that it's vulnerable the next few turns. So we have Offering. It's probably a good turn to do that since we don't have any defense. It's going to do 32 damage to us. Let's Shrug It Off twice to see what we get. So we will take 1 damage if we just block some more. Which I think is what we'll do. And then we'll see what happens next turn. May have had a chance to interrupt him there, but I think interrupting during the negative effect is fine even though we had an Ancient Potion. We do 13 damage to him, which I think we will be able to do. Or not? I guess we're not. I guess it depends. Nope, Bash is already upgraded. This is a little unfortunate. Definitely don't need all the block we have. I guess we'll Shrug It Off and see what we get. Oh, now it's enough. That was a little bit of a lucky top deck. Oh wait, he was vulnerable. So I guess we didn't have to think about it as hard as we did. Unfortunately, Body Slam won't do anything. We would have rather done it in the opposite order. Though we wouldn't have had any... Yeah, in the opposite order. Because I don't think it would have triggered the next phase. Oh well. We'll try and remember that for next time, I guess. Now that I look at it, I probably should move the uptime slightly since it does block. Yeah, that's a much better spot for it, I think. Since it did block the numbers on our discard pile a little bit. There we go. So he has Sharp Hide now. Whenever you play an attack, take 3 damage. I think we should be able to block through that, but I don't think we have enough block, really. So we will try to take as little damage as possible, though. So I think we will just not attack and waste a mana. Unless we really want something with Headbutt back next turn. What's left on our deck? One thing is already upgraded, so Armament's a little less necessary. I'm not sure we want anything else back next turn. What's our block situation look like? A Body Slam will be at least 13 damage, which could be worth it. I guess if we're going for a DPS strategy on this boss, then Body Slam is probably worth it. Let's start with Shrug It Off. I think we're okay with taking I did forget it has Sharp Hide, unfortunately, so we will take a lot more than like as little damage I thought we were gonna take. That should be alright still, I hope. So he's now returned to his other form, so we need to do 40 damage to revert him. He's gonna do 20 damage this turn. We can only get 13 block. Easily, that is. This way to get 17 if we play Rage first. We are really slowing down our damage output at that point, since we're only doing 1 attack afterwards. I think, as expected, Rage isn't going to be nearly as good in this deck as could otherwise be. We'll shrug it off and see what we get, I guess. Got Armaments, that would upgrade 3 things. It's better than Rage was, so I think we'll do it and then still just Iron Wave, which is 20 block, so that's exactly as much as we needed. So he's going for a buff and block. So I'm thinking just bash Headbutt. That should be fine. Yep. Armament's not necessary. Though he is going to do a lot of damage to us. But I still think we get more block out of Rage than 2 attacks. He's still vulnerable, so we don't necessarily need to bash just yet. And we won't be able to get it back for another cycle of our deck, though. So if we want to keep it up, now would be the time to do it. But I think we need to go for as much block as we can get, really. Oh, and he got interrupted. So once again, we didn't need to think through that as hard as we did, but it was alright, I guess. He's gonna buff instead now. I think we're just gonna throw down our poison potion now and try and get through this fight a little faster. We don't need the fire potion just yet. We'll do that if it can get us a kill at any point in the future. So do 9 damage. He is spiky again. I don't think we want to reshuffle our cards just yet. So I think we'll just go for this and take a tiny bit of damage. Just gonna do 16 now, and we can get some. In total, we can do 18, 38, 42, that would be 49. If he was still vulnerable, we'd have the kill, I guess. But unfortunately, we decided not to do that a turn ago, so I think we will just block a lot. And then take no damage. So I think we're in the final stretch. I think we will use our fire potion if it can get us to kill this turn. It's 20. I think we have exactly enough if we do that. Headbutt, body slam. 10, 18, 38, 41. So it's only enough if we headbutt body slam. Which means we can't bash. Which is alright. Just in case this somehow takes an extra turn. Take back body slam, I think. Then throw the fire potion. Miss block, I guess. And he should die to poison. Oh, that was the first boss down. And we got our fire potion back. And we can grab a new card again. Whenever you gain block, deal 3 damage to a random enemy, and that's power. So I definitely think we're going Juggernaut then, since that's basically the deck we're building around. Then we have ourselves a new chest. Pick a relic. Runic Cube, max HP is lowered by 20%. Whenever you lose HP, draw 1 card. Gain, I'm gonna guess that's energy. I'm still not 100% familiar with the symbols, and I think that's what was on offering. Gain energy at the start of each turn, you can no longer gain gold. And then gain energy at the start of each turn, you can no longer use potions. Well, if I was to pick one of the energy ones, I think I definitely would go with Ectoplasm, since we've been making good use of our potions up until now. And then Runic Cube is probably a not necessary, so I think it's either Skip or Ectoplasm. Can't be sure if we'll have like a shop on whatever path we're picking next floor yet. And I was kind of looking forward to trying out some more shop stuff this first run. But I think we will just go ectoplasm, because I think the extra energy will be pretty useful. And I don't want to get rid of potions, necessarily. I rather would pick both an energy up and any of the artifacts, really, since we have so few at this point in time. So now we're on to Act 2 of the city. And I think that's where I might call this stream right now. Can just save and quit. So I think we will just go ahead and do that. And we'll probably continue this tomorrow after Factorio again. Because I don't see a reason why not. I haven't exactly looked at this menu before this second, so I'm just reading through the preferences and stuff. So yeah, I think that is it for now. Let me change the overlay over to... I should have one for ending stream now, which I didn't have last time. Yep, we are ending stream. Today, we got quite a lot of progress on Factorio, and then we successfully beat the first boss here in Spire, so I'll consider today's stream pretty successful. We got our second follower, CBS Gambit, who was enough to chat a little earlier. And I think that's it. Thanks to anyone who watched during this stream, or watched this on like a VOD later or something like that. I am not entirely sure whether I want to like upload especially this Slay Aspires part to YouTube just yet. I will definitely cut out this part if it's going on YouTube, but if I do, you can always check it out there as well, instead of if you just so happen to skip to this part of the stream, the VOD for whatever reason, it might also be available there. And I do believe that's it. I will stream again tomorrow around the same time, same games. So I will see you then.